My name is Ana Barrera. I'm a resident of Monterey County and a school teacher in Salinas. I have a right to know what is sprayed around my school site and in my community. Every teacher, student, parent, and community member has a right to know. This Board of Supervisors needs to dismantle systemic environmental racism, and it starts by expanding the pesticide notification process through the notice of intent to all stakeholders. California has enacted in 1/4 pesticide buffers-free zones around our schools. Through our reform efforts, today we ask the Board of Supervisors to take a bold statement to protect our school sites, teachers, staff, and students by giving us the right to know what is sprayed around all of Monterey County public schools, and by making notices of intent public policy on the county website. Dismantle environmental racism in Monterey County. We ask that the Monterey County Ag Commissioner Gonzales come before the Board of Supervisors at September's meeting to explain the timeline to expand notification program to all schools in Monterey County. We have a right to know. As the Frontline documentary pointed out, it's time that the Monterey County Board of Supervisors step out of the company town mentality that compromises the health of our local campesino community and to act on the best interest of our people.
Hi, my name is Espinosa.
I was going to say something about you, but
I'm speaking English, but I'm a native speaker English, and I prefer to interpret. Mi nombre es Rosa Espinosa.
My name is Rosa Espinosa.
Y quiero agradecer la presencia de cada uno de ustedes aquí, incluso la vía Zoom.
I want to say that in here, also the BSU.
Y yo vengo a apoyar la causa de los pesticidas.
I'm here regarding the pesticides.
Estoy en contra de los pesticidas.
I am against the
Y voy
pesticides.
a decir por qué.
I'm going to say why.
Yo soy sobreviviente de los pesticidas.
I'm a survivor of the pesticides.
En mayo de 1998,
I'm 1988,
como trabajadora agrícola,
like as a worker.
haciendo el área del desaje, entró una avioneta y nos fumigó por completo.
An airplane just came over and dropped the pesticide and put it all over us.
A toda la cuadrilla que estábamos trabajando en ese momento.
For all our team that was working at
Yo
that time.
estaba embarazada,
I was pregnant,
tenía 3 meses de embarazo
3 months,
y fui transportada de emergencia al Hospital Memoria,
and I was transferred to the
refiriéndose en mi caso al doctor Yacoub,
regarding my case,
que fue mi doctor prenatal.
which was my prenatal doctor.
Esta acción me causó problemas de neuromas en mi cerebro
This action has taken me to issues on my brain,
y bajó mi grado de intelectualidad.
and it went lower on my intelligence.
Yo he representado la mesa directiva del programa Gestal en 1996 de San Gerardo como presidenta,
I gave the opportunity to Head Start program as a president
el distrito Alizal
at the district Allison
y el distrito Salinas.
and the Salinas district.
Mi última representación fue Washington Middle School como vice president de la mesa directiva de padres.
My last representative was of school Washington,
Así que estoy en contra de que se usen pesticidas en las escuelas.
so I'm against the pesticides being used at schools.
Los niños necesitan estudiar, aprender en lugares seguros.
The kids need to learn and be in a safe place,
Esto incluye maestros y empleados.
and includes the teachers and employees.
Es su segundo hogar,
It's the second home.
son su segunda familia.
It's the second family.
Los niños son sus futuras generaciones que van a construir esta nación.
And as a teacher, the kids are for
Y
the
necesitan estar sanos,
We need to be healthy,
mental y físicamente.
mental and physical.
Los pesticidas causan muchos desórdenes mentales,
Pesticides do cause a lot of disorders.
físicos,
Physical,
y incluye el cáncer,
and includes cancer,
problemas de asma,
asthma problems,
y podría hacer una lista muy larga de los síntomas que estos niños enfrentan y los empleados también.
and I can make a long list of all these situations what they can, be caused.
Y si ustedes desean investigar el caso de fumigación que se usó en mi contra, estando embarazada, fue en Sandoval Brothers, la compañía de Sandoval Brothers, que está localizada en Soledad, California.
And if you guys are all wanting to go ahead and search on my case of what happened with the pesticides.
Y si yo estoy sufriendo estas consecuencias, los niños no deben de estar expuestos. Muchas gracias.
Here's a little background as to why I'm passionate about transparency with regards to pesticide fumigants in your schools. I teach 3rd grade surrounded by strawberry fields. DPR installed an air monitor at my school because of a history of pesticide drift and cancer. We're exposed to pesticide drift regularly, and cancer, asthma, and learning disabilities are a huge problem. We have high quantities of kids with cancer at my small school. In fact, we've had 5 students with cancer in the last 7 years. The year before last, my student had a full-time aide because she became blind after they removed a brain tumor when she was in 1st grade. Every year, I see more and more cases of asthma. 3 years ago, my student repeated 3rd grade because she missed so much school due to asthma attacks. This year, I checked my class list and I have 5 students with asthma. That's not normal. Brain development is one of my biggest worries, so much so, in fact, our special ed team can't keep up. Last year, they had to hire a supplemental psychologist to deal with the backlog of special ed testing for students suffering from learning disabilities. That's why I came here today to talk about transparency with fumigant applications. Did you know that Director Dolcini from Cal DPR gave executive...
Thank you for your public comment. Your time is up. I appreciate it.
She was going to give me her mic.
Hi, my name is Karen Martinez, and I will give my minute in order to speak at this meeting.
Thanks, alrighty. Director Dolcini from Cal DPR gave executive guidance to all county ag commissioners asking for increased transparency concerning pesticide applications that occur near homes and schools, calling it, quote, a top priority for the state. Commissioner Gonzales should listen to the DPR. We need to expand notifications about pesticides in the air, or at the very least, grant the public access to the notices of intent that farmers submit to the ag commissioner. When we learn when and what pesticides are being applied, there are steps that we as teachers can take to minimize exposure. Farm worker families at my school are on the front lines during the pandemic, taking a greater risk as essential workers, and they are also disproportionately affected by COVID. In fact, many pesticides used near us are lung damaging, and that sets our communities up for more complications to COVID. We need Monterey County to take the lead on developing a system that notifies residents who will be exposed to fumigants. I urge Commissioner Gonzales to take the lead and share pesticide applications or notices of intent on his website, an easy way to show the public there's nothing to hide.
Say your name.
Melissa Dennis.
Good afternoon, members of the Board of Supervisors. Cesar Lara, I'm here to talk to you. A week ago, we were notified by the Ag Commissioner that he was not moving forward on the website that we negotiated and developed with his office. Since then, he has sent a notice saying that he will continue doing it, but for a number of years, community residents across Monterey County, from South County to the Salinas area to North County, have used and been waiting for this website to expand to their communities. Pesticide exposure around schools has been a major issue for a number of years, and as community residents, and you heard from one of our members from North County, a 3rd grade teacher, about what does it mean to be in the front line as a teacher. So what we're asking for is that not just that the notification system continue in the areas of North County, but we also want to expand it countywide. And we ask the Board of Supervisors to ask the Ag Commissioner to please give us a timeline on when he will be doing that countywide. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Karen Cameron. I stand here in memory of my mother, Marlis Mayer, who was actively involved in many volunteer efforts in this community and sustainable Salinas, and I believe she would want to see Salinas become organic and transparent. Also my brother, he spent 30 years with toxic substances, so I stand here in the memory. Earlier, Supervisor Alejo mentioned the good efforts by our county. I believe he was referring to that we are first in the state to lead, but it's not enough. I subject you, it's time out for being okay with not having information. Why, as a Salinas resident, do I not have air monitoring, water monitoring, notification of what's going on? Why do I have a county ag commissioner who has readily admitted his ignorance about the mix of the toxicity of pesticides, fungicides, and fumigants and how they interact, and yet that's commonplace? Why does the CDPR also lack that knowledge? I believe we have to take this all the way to the federal But I want to see it plain Salinas, and I am a school teacher concerned.
Thank you for your
Dealt
comment.
with
Your time
all
is up.
the comments
Thank you
made
for your
earlier.
comment.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Hector Calderon. I'm here today with Safe Ag, Safe Schools. And yeah, so as of Monday, July 21st, Henry Gonzales, the Ag Commissioner, had determined that he would eliminate the actual program that was the pilot project. And as of over the weekend, Commissioner Gonzales reinstated that on the Monterey County Fumigation Notification pilot project. And so in terms of that, after much pushback from our SASS members that are concerned, community members, teachers, students, unions, local organizations, we're asking the Ag Commissioner to come before the Board of Supervisors at the September meeting to present a timeline on how to expand the program to all schools in the county, but also that as an immediate step, he can also make notices of intent, which are NOIs or public on their actual county website as an effective immediately. And so that could be a way to have some sort of transparency. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Anybody else in the chambers? All right, I'm going to go to Zoom. I see a hand up from Bill Light. Bill, we're going to give you a minute to share your public comment with this board.
Thank you, Chair. I really think limiting public comment in this particular area of the agenda to 1 minute is really an injustice. Obviously, people learn to speak longer. And these meetings are not for your convenience, but for the public's convenience. And they should have the full scope of 3 minutes to speak their mind. I mentioned cannabis last week. Over $5 million per acre gross receipts on 87 acres. Based on that calculation, the canopy space is about $19 million in taxes. You gave up about $38 million in revenue. In comparison, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and wine grapes account for an average gross per acre of about $11,300. And they're able to employ tens of thousands of people, tons of equipment, lots of diesel, fertilizer, all the operations and capital-intensive things that go along with an ag operation. For the cannabis industry to say that they're overtaxed is a joke. And I'll say it again, where is all this money going? And is it flowing into any of the pockets of the regulators and the people that are actually setting the rules, like lowering the tax from $15 a square foot to $5? Their tax rate on their gross receipts is about 4%.
Your time is
That's
up.
way below the state sales tax.
We're going to go to Mark DeHart. Mr. DeHart, you'll have a minute to share your public comment with this board.
Good morning, Supervisor Lopez. I appreciate your time. I want to take just a few seconds. And first, thank you for what you're doing in District 3 with the Green Bridge project and the negative effects that has on the wildlife. So I appreciate your effort in that. To piggyback on that, we need to look at access. I know the City Gate report come out on RMA, but there is a lot of lost revenue, lost exposure to the outdoors with Lake San Antonio being closed during the week, especially when we have full-time residents and campground people living there that operate the gate. Why can't they keep it open more than we currently are, especially with schools going online, families needing opportunities to get outdoors? What better way to social distance than to go out to the lake where you can totally stay safe, social distance, and allow access to outdoors. Again, thank you for everything you're doing. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. DeHart. We're going to go to somebody under the moniker iPad next. I can't see a name there, so we're going to go ahead and give you the ability to unmute yourself to share 1 minute public comment with this board. There you go.
Okay, I'm unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Kathleen Kilpatrick. I live in Watsonville, but I worked for 16 years as a school nurse in the Pajaro district. I'm a member of Safe Ag, Safe School. I work with Greenfield and Salinas families and teachers. Also credentialed as a family nurse practitioner with a background in occupational and environmental health. And I agree about the expanded notification, but I think to really look at the notices of intent access, our focus in SASS has been on schools, but we've come to the realization that there are all kinds of other vulnerable populations, not only the workers, but senior citizens and other people in the community with chronic illnesses, and people are in their homes now a lot more. So we need to be able to access the information about what pesticides, restricted pesticides are used near our homes and businesses. I know Monterey County has a progressive system of recording those notices via the web, and it would not be that big of a deal to get them to be accessible to the public. So please take this corrective measure.
We're going to go to Horacio Amezquita next. Horacio?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to advocate for better health for the residents of Monterey County. As you know, we are here in San Gerardo, we are right in the middle of all the pesticide usage and fungicides and herbicides and all kinds of toxic chemicals that are being used for many years. I just want to advocate that the Agriculture Commissioner and to expand a program that every resident can have notices when toxic chemicals are going to be sprayed or fumigate the soil, so the people have a way of defending themselves by getting into their homes and put their children inside their homes when they're spraying. So there's so many ways of informing the public. We just have to expand the program where the places that is going to be sprayed, we can notify the people that are
Thank you, Travis. Your time's up. Thank you very much. We appreciate the comment. I'm going to go to Nick Musney next. Nick?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you. First I just want to mention that while the ag industry is the backbone of our economy, we have to ask ourselves what responsibility do they have to the land and communities that they operate in. At the very least, parents and community members should have access to pesticide notices on the website, and I would argue that even text message or emergency alerts sent to their smartphones. The pilot program only applies to 10 schools to just one class of pesticides. This vital information of the application of harmful chemicals into the air we breathe should be made directly accessible to every person in every neighborhood affected. Most of our ag fields in which pesticides are applied are in Castroville, Salinas, North and South County, the brownest, poorest communities of our county. Poisoning of air and environments without aggressive notification and comprehensive transparency in poor communities of color is the definition of environmental racism. Yes, preserving our agricultural yield is vital to allowing our ag companies to provide the food our country needs to survive during this pandemic and at all times. However, this should not be done at the expense of our people. There are so many methods growers, botanists, and ag tech leaders can implement in order to preserve yield without endangering our communities by using harmful pesticides.
Thank you, Mr. Wisdom. We appreciate your comment. We're going to go to Karen Crespo Truvino next.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Karen Crespo Truvino. I'm a youth program coordinator with the Salinas Valley Environmental and Climate Justice Academy. I just want to echo the same comments from Safe Ag Safe Schools. We believe that all residents of Monterey County have the right to know when fumigants are being sprayed on nearby agricultural fields. We're currently in a global pandemic. Our homes are in our schools. The health risks and implications from COVID-19 should influence further connection and communication from the Agriculture Commissioner to community residents, especially as our farm workers are working tirelessly to feed our nation. The Farming Safely Near Schools project is a project of connection, respect, and protection of our communities. The nearby residents' proper identification of pesticide fumigants must be respected as community health is crucial. Mr. Gonzales actually came to our Youth Academy session this past season and spoke with pride about the project. The youth that we teach may not live within Northern Monterey County or within the 10 schools. Regardless, I strongly believe that they would benefit from the project existing within their school districts. We want to ask Mr. Gonzales about his initial results from the pilot project and whether or not he wants to expand the project to the southern part of Monterey County.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. Your public comment time is up. We appreciate your comment. We're going to go to Andreas Stephanie Corral next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, as a former resident of Chular, a small town which is surrounded by fields, I would like to know two things. One, why was your guys' project second guess? Did you feel like there wasn't any need for the town to be aware of such chemicals being sprayed? And two, why do you want to conduct this project only on the northern side of Monterey County? I've lived here in Monterey County for almost 15 years, and from what I've seen, the southern side has way bigger towns. Salinas, Prundell, Castroville, Pájaro, Sonorita, and the rest are big areas where fields are a couple blocks away from the residents, whereas the southern side is full of towns which is surrounded by these fields. We are never informed of when any field is being sprayed, so since we have no awareness, we stick to our daily routine. Several people love to go on a run early in the morning. Others enjoy going to play basketball or soccer, both on the courts and the soccer fields, which are literally by the field. How can we keep our people healthy if nobody even bothers to send an alert? Several people have been diagnosed with COVID and some have passed. Why should more die due to these chemicals? We could all find an alternative for pesticides, harm-free.
Thank you for your public comment. We're going to go to Juan Martinez next. Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez, you'll need to unmute yourself. Okay,
There you go, how's that?
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah. Mr. I want to say thank you to you for your effort with the Arroyo Seco watershed area and the bridge physically location. I grew up here all my life and I know the importance of that area. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Gonzales too for reconsidering the notification necessity and the accomplishments that have been gained so far. I do want to support the need to extend to the entire county. We have the technology now that we could put a Amber Alert of sort without making it sound negative. And it helps everybody, helps the industry, helps everyone, and helps the workers in particular. Here in Gonzales, we get a lot of wind. South County this way, Chris, as you know. So we need your support. Yeah, you're our supervisor, so we're putting it on you, brother. Do the best to help take care of your voter constituents and the grower industry. And thank you very much again.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. We're going to go to Agustin Ancan next. Mr. Ancan.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello. Mi nombre es Agustin Angel, and I'm also with Salinas Valley Environmental and Climate Justice Leadership Youth Academy, and I'm also the other program coordinator. I do want to piggyback what my colleagues Karen Crespo did say. I want to finish off the last comment with in regards to Mr. Gonzales coming to our Youth Academy session this past season and spoke with pride about this pilot program. The youth that we may teach may not live within the Parejo Valley or North Monterey County Unified School District. Regardless, they will benefit from this project existing within their school district. We want to ask Mr. Gonzales, what were the initial results from the Parejo Valley Northern Monterey County Unified School District? What are the initiatives for expansion to Southern County? Mr. Gonzales inspired our youth to pursue higher education to work in the fields like environmental justice policy making, etc. How can we expect our youth to pursue higher education if they're the ones shown this clear example of disconnection from schools and communities to local governments and their practices? Will they be taught to remain silent without care or respect for one another? Or will they have enough?
Your time is up. I appreciate your comments. We're going to go to Joseph Delgado next.
Yes, I can hear me.
Yes.
Students are not the only ones learning from home. Teachers are also virtually learning new topics and training, as well as coming up with new plans for its upcoming 2020 to 2021 school year. The residents of our community should be notified when pesticides or other harmful chemicals will be sprayed. so precautions can be taken. Many parents, students, and also staff members depend on the project to be notified when the fumigant will be sprayed. I personally live in a ranch in South County where grapes, lemons, oranges, and avocados are being grown. Other residents in the ranch have kids that like going outside like any other kid. And sometimes during the day, tractors will be spraying the crops. It would be safer if we get notified about chemicals being sprayed due to the fact that we're not aware about the chemical that's being applied to the crops. Another problem I've noticed is water contamination. Chlorine is added to our drinking water without us being notified. We notice when chlorine is added to our water, when our water comes out yellow, or also when our eyes are burning while washing dishes or washing our hands. We should also get notified when chlorine will be getting added to our water so we can be sure to utilize our water cautiously.
Thank you, Mr. Delgado. We appreciate it. Your time is up. We're going to go to Rufina Alessandra next. Rufina?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Rufina Gonzales, and I agree all that people say against fumigating pesticides close to school. It's because we need to protect our children. Because pesticides damage their brain, development, and it's not fair because they are the future of this country. And that's all my comments.
Thank you. With that, seeing no more hands up and nobody in chambers, I'm going to close public comment and see if our Ag Commissioner wants to respond to the topic of the day.
Good afternoon, Chair Lopez, members of the board, Mr. McKee, Mr. Gerard. Thank you for the opportunity to respond to some of these concerns. There's a lot to this whole issue. I'll start by saying that this is another example of how Monterey County moves in this notification project. I'm going to start with why I reinstated the program after having decided to just stop. First of all, why I restarted it. So I have reviewed the draft report. It's near finalization, and I found some comments in there that I thought were important enough to continue with the effort. And it goes back to something that I realized some years ago, and that is that as important as it is for people to be safe, it is also important for people to feel safe. And I think we heard from the public here a lot of comments about that very issue about feeling safe. So what has ended is the contract that our department had with the California Department of Pesticide Regulation to conduct this pilot program. This pilot program was designed to create a system of notification and to work out all the kinks, as it were, see if it works, see how it works, etc. In the final report, you'll see that there was some areas of success and other areas not so much. Kind of like everything in life, like most things in life, some things are positive and some things not so much. And then, of course, some of this depends on the eye of the beholder. So I'll just share that with regards to children in schools. There is no one that protects children from pesticides more than the Office of the Agricultural Commissioner as we enforce those pesticide regulations. But even before we start with enforcement, we always have outreach and education to make sure that the growers and ultimately the workers that have their finger on the trigger of the spray nozzle know what they're doing and follow those requirements to protect whoever they're going to protect and to follow the regulation. One of the issues with this project is that it started in 2016, which is great, except that in 2018, the pesticide in schools regulation was enacted. And what that did, it stopped all fumigations from occurring within a quarter mile of schools. The only time that a fumigation can occur within a quarter mile of a school anywhere in the state is on Saturday morning, and it has to be done by noon because 36 hours have to pass before children go back to school, so before 6 a.m. on Monday. So they have to finish by noon. And so that regulation also made almost all other pesticide applications prohibited within a quarter mile of school. So it really made less important, less valuable the need to conduct these fumigation notifications. But we've continued with that. We've continued with our stakeholder outreach meetings, outreach to the growers. I'm going to share just a few of the statistics that are going to be in the report, just so folks will know. To begin with, this project cost $250,000. And the project had a website. We still have it. We have a website where folks can go there and see on the map the schools, and there's a quarter-mile radius circled around them. And in there you can see which are the farms within a quarter mile of those schools. And there's also information about pesticide use, pesticide safety, pesticide regulation. It's a really great information, which I think is very important and necessary. And there's also a feature where if you want, you can sign up to receive a notification prior to the fumigation within a quarter mile of that school. We had 73 people sign up for that notification. These are some of the analytics that we found. There was 4,778 total users who went to that site. Of that number, 3,815 were from the United States. Of that, 2,117, or 55%, were from California. Those numbers break down to about, it's close to 40% of the people who signed up or who visited the site are from the Salinas-Watsonville area. The main counties are, besides Monterey and Santa Cruz, are San Francisco and Sacramento. There was an average of 3 pages that people saw when they visited, and they visited for about 3 minutes. And there was a 66% bounce rate, meaning that 66% of the people went to the site, saw it, and then left the site without exploring further any of the information.
Mr. Gonzales, this is all very informational, but obviously we can't take any action today. Maybe in a future meeting you could come back and make a presentation on your findings.
That would be great for me to come back and to review the entire report when it's completed. And I would be more than happy to do that. The September date sounds, I think, doable in regards to reviewing the findings of this report in greater detail.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay.